2 days later, Kasim still hadn't returned home, and for a very good reason. People began to worry and wonder whether anything had happened to him.
My poor husband must surely have fallen down a precipice. Perhaps he's been attacked by wolves. But it's all your fault, Ali Baba. You made him start out on this adventure.
Oh, that's quite unjust, sister-in-law. I tried to stop him going, but he wouldn't listen to me. I hope it won't be dangerous, but I am going to make a trip to that cave.
Outside the boulder, Ali Baba found the pieces of Kasim's body, and also under the trees the 10 donkeys. They were still tied up and were making such a row because for 2 days no one had given them anything to eat or drink.
Poor old Kasim. You were too greedy. You wouldn't listen to my advice. But you were my brother all the same. I shall arrange for a worthy funeral for you.
Carefully collected the scraps of his brother's body and returned to town, leading the 10 donkeys and wondering to himself how he was going to break the news to his sister-in-law, and also how he was going to be able to keep secret the whole horrible business. In Kasim's house lived a young slave by the name of Morgiana, who was both intelligent and devoted. It was to her that Ali Baba confided his worries.
Leave it to me, sir. I have an idea.
After settling her lady mistress in a back room away from the street, so that her sobs and sighs could not be heard, Morgiana went to the other end of the town, to the stall of an old shoemaker.
What can I do for you, young lady? I am the most experienced shoemaker in the whole of Persia, and in spite of my age, I still have the cleverest fingers and the sharpest eyes.
For the delicate task I have for you, it will also need a cool head and much courage.
For courage, I fear no one. As for a cool head, how much will you pay me?
A piece of gold now, and another piece of gold when the task is done. What I want you to do is to sew up the corpse of a man.
Let us go, then.
But I shall have to blindfold you, because you mustn't know where I'm taking you.
First, my piece of gold.
She led him blindfolded to Kasim's house, where the old shoemaker sewed up the scraps of the unfortunate man with such care that not even the cuts showed. Then, when she had taken the shoemaker home again blindfolded, Morgiana let out the news that Kasim had died of a heart attack and would be buried the following day. No one among his friends or neighbors suspected anything. But in the meantime, the 40 thieves had noticed the disappearance of the donkeys and of the corpse. The chief of the robbers held a council of war.
It's quite obvious someone knows our secret. Our treasure is no longer safe. The least we must do is to find the person concerned and kill him. And that is what we are going to do. In the meantime, all our other activities must cease. I need a volunteer.
Me, Chief.
Abdul. Good. You will disguise yourself as a townsman and explore the whole town and its outlying districts. You must question all shopkeepers and all servants. When you have learned the name of the man we want, come and find us. Now be off, and good luck.
Abdul, disguised as a town dweller, searched the town and the surrounding districts, questioning all servants and shopkeepers. Eventually he came to the stall of the old shoemaker.
What can I do for you, young man? I have the cleverest fingers and sharpest eyes in Persia.
At your age?
At my age? Why, certainly. Only yesterday I sewed up the body of a man who had been cut to pieces.
No.
Yes, and I did it so well that none of the cuts could be seen.
A piece of gold if you take me to the house.
2 pieces of gold.
Very well. Where is it?
I don't know. But if you blindfold me, I would be able to find the place. Because it was blindfolded, I went there and came back.
The shoemaker took Abdul right to Ali Baba's house. Abdul marked the door with a chalked cross so that he should know it again. And then he ran off to inform his chief. But coming back from the market, Morgiana noticed the cross on the door. So she marked all the doors of all the houses in the street with similar crosses. When the thieves turned up to kill off everybody in the house, they were dumbfounded. They either had to kill off everybody in the street or return to their hideout and have another council of war.
Abdul! You are sillier than a goose!
Yes, Chief.
You deserve 50 strokes of the cane on the soles of your feet!
Yes, Chief.
You deserve to be cut up in pieces!
Yes, Chief. I mean, no, Chief. Please, not in pieces.
Listen, you unclean son of a lonesome toad!
Yes, Chief.
I give you one more chance. Take me to this shoemaker and get him to show us this place again.
For the old shoemaker, this was the happiest day of his life. He asked for and got 10 pieces of gold. Then he showed the chief of the thieves the way to Ali Baba's house.
There you are. And for 10 pieces of gold, I could take you here every day.
That very evening, the chief of the thieves knocked at Ali Baba's door. He had disguised himself as an oil merchant and was leading 20 donkeys, each carrying 2 large jars. Each jar contained a robber, except for one that really was filled with oil. It had been arranged that at a given signal from their chief, the brigands would climb out from their hiding places and kill everybody in the house.
May heaven bring you joy, illustrious Lord Ali Baba. Could you offer hospitality to a poor, tired oil merchant? My donkeys have been on the go since morning and are tired out. They can go no further. Allow them to spend the night in your courtyard. In payment, I shall give you a jar of my finest oil. Look how good it is.
Believing he was dealing with a genuine oil merchant, Ali Baba treated his guest with honor, offering him the finest place at his table that evening. But Morgiana was very suspicious.
I don't like the look of this so-called merchant. What What's more, his donkeys look much too fresh to have been on the move all day to me. I don't see a drop of sweat on any of them, or even a speck of dust. I think I must do something about this.
While Ali Baba and his guest were eating, she lifted the lid of one of the jars, which were placed round the courtyard. The thief inside, believing it was his chief, let out a sigh of relief.
About time, Chief. I was beginning to get backache folded up like this in a jar for so long.
Morgiana carefully replaced the lid, and in a false voice whispered,
Not long now. Have a little patience.
She did exactly the same with all the other jars, and all the other thieves in them. Then she drew a saucepan full of oil from the only jar that really contained oil, and she boiled it. Returning to the jars containing the 39 thieves, she poured the boiling oil on their heads. All were neatly fried before they had time to realize what was happening. Next, Morgiana went to the room where Ali Baba and the false merchant were finishing their meal. She went straight up to the chief of the thieves, bowed deeply to him, pulled a dagger from her breast, and stabbed him in the heart.
Morgiana, what are you doing?
I've just saved your life, sir.
Then she told of how she had discovered the thieves hidden in the oil jars, and how she had disposed of them.
How on earth can I ever thank you, Morgiana?
Your son and I are very much in love, sir, and we would like to get married.
Baba thought that a girl capable of grilling 39 thieves and then stabbing a 40th in less than 5 minutes would make a fine wife for his son, who was quite a nice boy, although a little indolent. Besides, he did not want to upset her. So he gave his immediate consent, and thanks to the treasure from the cave, he was able to keep his whole family in the greatest luxury. His son after him, and the son after that son, and so on, through many generations, had no need of anything. All that was necessary for them was to go into the forest and say to a certain rock,
Open sesame!
At long last, of course, even that treasure was exhausted. Today the cave is empty, and even if you shout, "Open sesame," all day and every day, the rock will never open again.